I'm going to be really cheeky, and I've actually strong-armed, I mean gently persuaded, 3 individuals who've been here for the last couple of days or today to actually feed back on their reflections on what we've been talking about over the past sort of 48 hours. So you might need to take the mic. So if I could just hand over, I've told them, harking back to my teacher days, that 2 stars and a wish format. So 2 things that have particularly stuck out in your mind as being really good, and 1 thing that perhaps maybe you've identified could be improved going forward. So if I could hand over to Sue first, please.
Hi, thanks, Gail. I've got 3 stars.
Oh,
if that's
I'm one
okay.
of them.
So my first star is about mentioning about belonging that we talked about. It's the theme of the articulation module that I run with Dundee and Angus College. I'm part of University of Dundee. And about the students just feeling part of something. There's a couple of things here, really. The first is about having that consistency of enhanced provision. So although I run my module in semester 2, I've seen the students across semester 1, just touch points to get in touch and see them both at the college and at the university, to make them feel welcome, and that they are not a second-class student as an associate student. They are an equal student as part of the University of Dundee, and have the support of both organisations. The second thing about that is also, again, Shell was talking about it in the morning, just about these touch points about where you just throw information at them. And the need, and it's a reflection that I've done from running the module this year, is that to make sure that it's almost like a running stitch where you're going forwards and then going backwards a little bit, just to remind the students about what's available to them and what they need to do, and signpost them so that they can feel that they can achieve. So that was just one of my thoughts. The second one I really liked was Wobble Week. I haven't used that term before, but I'm going to use it going forward, not just for me, but for the students. As part of my role as academic literacies developer, I work with medical students at Ninewells, as well as the articulation students, as well as with schools and one-to-one. And no matter what you throw at them, no matter what academic skills sessions that I offer, it only becomes relevant to them when it means something to them. So there is a need for agility. I'm thinking about the medical students, and they come to me at the end of the year having failed their end of their first year assessment. And I said, didn't you attend the toolbox in semester 1? And they went, yeah. I said, well, I'm just going to tell you this now. So it's that agility that's needed, and if anybody's got ideas about that would be great, because I just don't know how we do that, because it's different for everybody. My final star is from Phil about teach less, learn more. That was music to my ears, having taught for 1,000,000 years, and just thinking about Jeff Petty and his 25 ways to teach without talking. He's retired now, so that's a bit of a shame. But what you need in terms of having that kind of that flip learning, that active learning, that authenticity, is you need to have time and buy-in from staff and management to allow it to happen. And it needs that good old word time, which is difficult. My wish is about terminology. At university, you have traditional and non-traditional learners. And it would be really nice I'm getting some nods, it would be really nice to have some more positively framed terminology for those students, and also for the funding councils to recognise a more agile and adaptable offering funding to allow different types of programme to be offered without us having to kind of, fit a square peg in a round hole.
Thank you very much, Sue. If you could hand the mic to Stella, please, Alison. Just behind you.
Thank you. I was strong-armed over the little puddings, and it was really sweet, so I said yes. And I made some notes then, and I guess one of my reflections is that I think a couple of these have been said already in summing up, but I thought rather than the strain of rewriting my stars and my wish was that I would reinforce by going again. And it's not plagiarism. I've not copied this. So my observations, and one of my first stars, thinking about the commonality between the days, here's the repetition, is that I thought everyone was really coming together with a central care for student learning and a real ambition about enhancement as possible and doable and evidenced by the sharing that people did already. The second star was I thought there was just lots of listening for learning and that people were really listening to find out more, that they then found was that we had more in common than we had different, and that was seen as a really positive framing for together we can make a difference. And my wish, maybe sounds a bit cheesy, is that motivations, sharing and learning really sustains, but then just grows and catalyses and gets bigger, so that we evolve changes for learners, but also for staff who genuinely care and want joy at work about making a difference. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, Stella. And Scott is just over there. Thank you.
So yeah, again, Gail strong-armed me. Like any good lecturer, gave me time to go and think of my stars and my wish. So my two stars are actually quite just personal to me. The first one is just the ability to network. The last 2 days, the amount of networking I've done over the last 2 days has been great, and just the sheer enthusiasm in the room. When Phil worked in that small college in East End of Glasgow, I used to work there too. So we used to have conversations, and I always felt there wasn't enough people like that within the room, so I used to have to bore Phil with all my ideas about how we're going to change the world and stuff. Now I've got a full network I can bore. so that's the first one. So I did prepare this, Gail. So the second one again is very personal to me, and it's actually something I hear a lot. We were talking about, and I know Nicola was chatting about, was time. And you're looking at your diary, and I was in Mallorca last week, so it was lovely, and I was looking at my diary for this week, and I was thinking, right, I'm in Tuesday, because it was a bank holiday. Oh no, I'm in Dundee for a couple of days, the amount of emails and stuff I'm going to go back to. Actually, I was just thinking about the amount of stuff that I've learned these last 2 weeks. I'm involved in kind of running projects and stuff in my organisation. I honestly think I've saved myself about 10, 12 weeks worth of work just with the amount of stuff I've learned, not just for the presenters, the presentations have been brilliant, but actually just the conversations I've had with the students, the conversations I've had with the different HE and FE representatives who've been here have saved me so much time. It's actually times we need to think, sometimes when we talk about time and time to attend CPD, it's that sharpening the saw analogy that you used to see all the time, is taking the time out to do a bit of CPD and do that learning will save you so much more time moving forward. And my wish is not really as personal, but I was talking to Phil there that the reason lots of us are here is because we're curious and we're really open. But that's not always the case within our institutions. And the momentum that's built in this room, I would really hope that it doesn't just stay in this room. So I think we said there was 33 different institutions represented here. And we're saying who's the people they listen to. A lot of these people will be sitting in here. So let's take that back to the institutions and really try and build the momentum about the STEP and the different enhancement projects that are going on.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for taking part in that for me. You articulated it far better than I ever could. So as we bring today's conference to a close, I just want to thank each and every one of you in this room for your contributions, your energy and your unwavering commitment to enhancing student transitions across Scotland's tertiary education landscape. The work we've explored today and yesterday, spanning research, practice and innovation, reminds us that transitions are not isolated events, but deeply personal and transformative journeys for our learners. Through your collaboration with us at QAA and between each other, and College Development Network, you'd think I'd remember that seeing as I work for them, you are helping shape a more inclusive, responsive and empowering system, one that supports students not just to enter and progress, but to truly thrive. The partnership and projects we've seen today highlight the power of working across institutional and sectoral boundaries and the value of sharing our learning openly with one another. As you return to your institutions and communities, I encourage you to carry forward that momentum, the ideas and the connections sparked here, whether that be during the conference or in the pub afterwards, as I was informed earlier. There were some good connections made. Whether you're refining an approach, launching a new initiative, or simply continuing the conversation, your work is part of a wider movement, one that is transforming how we support learners at every stage of their journey. Thank you for being a part of the movement. Let's keep the dialogue going and keep making a difference, one transition at a time. Thanks very much.